Welcome to Rubber Duck Off-Road Garage. My name is Grant, and today we're going to be working on the CJK7. I have the frame here from a four-door JK that I have pulled the tub and all that off from, and then I have an old 1984 CJ7 tub, and I have the new fenders, and then the grill and the hood and all that are over there for the CJ. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to remove the fuel tank the rest of the way. I'm going to try to get rid of all the brake lines, so I'm replacing all the brake lines except for the brake lines that go to the calipers, because the JKs had ABS and all that. So if you come over to where the master cylinder was, for those brake lines you had the weird little ABS box and all that, so you have a whole bunch of brake lines here. Well, an old CJ7 only had 2 lines that hooked to the master cylinder, so I'm going to remove all those. That way later on down the road I can make new brake lines. So I don't need these ones. Or I may use them and maybe try to rebend them if I can. If not, I have a bunch of brake line to make new ones. And then, where am I going to go after that? Well, first, get the fuel tank out. Possibly remove the brake lines today. Maybe remove the radiator. So I'm going to need to take the radiator out because I want to try to mount the radiator so that it sits all the way up into here where the stock CJ radiator sat. But you can see that the JK radiator is a little bit bigger. Plus this isn't the stock JK radiator. It's an aluminum one to go with the 5.7 Hemi that I had in my JK. So I'm probably going to have to modify that a little bit. But, you know, I'm going to have to modify a lot to do this. Maybe I'll cut the body mounts off, because I'm going to have to cut all these body mounts off and then re-weld them back on eventually to match up with where the CJ tub will be sitting. I also have to cut the CJ tub. So I'm going to end up cutting the CJ tub at the back here along there, and I'm going to set the front half on the front of the frame and get that all mocked up with the fenders and the grill. And then I will put the back on, and I will have to fill the middle in because a 4-door JK frame is long. So basically it will end up being like a CJ8. So I'm going to get started by removing the rest of this fuel tank. And then if I have time today, I'll remove the brake lines or take the body mounts off, cut the body mounts off. Just going to cut them off like right about here. So I'll get started with the fuel tank and we'll see how far we get. All right, well, that was something else, but as you can see, the fuel tank is out. I know everybody knows this, but try to make sure that your fuel tank is empty as possible when you take it out. That was my mistake. I don't know how empty this is, because when I took the Jeep apart, the fuel gauge wasn't working, and I couldn't remember the last time I filled it up. So I think there's still quite a bit of fuel in there because it's kind of heavy. But with the help of jack stands and a jack and brute force, it is out. You can see all the mud that was caked up in there. If you look at this thing here, you can see all the rocks that were caked and stuck in there and stuff. I'll have to pull the pan off the tank. So I'm going to clean it up really good. I have a new skid plate over there in the corner that'll go on the bottom of this. It'll attach to the stock cradle, because I'm going to try and reuse this fuel tank when I do my swap for the CJ7 body, because I like how big this fuel tank is, and I like how it's on the side here, because the old CJ tanks went at the back, and I don't really want to put anything at the back here, because I'd like to put air tanks up in here so I can do some good onboard air. So I'm going to try to reuse that tank with the new skid plate. Plus, I think this is like a, what are they, like an 18 or a 20 gallon tank, and the old CJs, you know, they were like 15 or whatever, not too big. So that's the game plan. Now that I've got that out of the way, I can get to stuff that I wasn't able to get to before, like maybe cut the rest of this bracket out from doing the long arm, where you move your control arms and all that around. You really use the stock upper one, but the lower one gets moved over here, and you have to cut where the old mount was. So now I could probably clean that up and get it out of the way, paint it, maybe cut a hole in the frame here to get to the back side of this bolt, and maybe weld the nut on, and then we re-weld that up on the frame. That way I ain't got to worry about using what the heck are those, these little things here where you feed the bolt in, or the nut in, and then you run the bolt through and you try to find that and hit it. They're kind of a pain in the butt. So I might end up cutting a hole and doing that, and then just weld it back up, maybe plate it or something. We'll see. What else is there? That might be it for today. It's getting kind of late. Got to spend time with the family. I would like to get the brake lines done today, but I've got plenty of time. Well, I have all the time in the world, technically, if you think about it. This is the old filler neck here, which is not going to get used again. That's why I wasn't too worried about breaking clips or whatever. So, if you know a JK, or actually a lot of your newer Jeeps, they fill up on the side. So when the body was here, the filler would actually have been on the driver's side. So the filler would have been right here. But an old CJ, they're on the back. So you can't see mine right now because my tub is pushed over against the wall here. But the filler for this, I think is either, it would have been right on this side, right here at the back, not on the side like the newer Jeeps, like a JK, TJ, even the JLs, and I think even the YJs might have still been at the back. So I'm gonna have to replumb how that goes. Luckily enough, it's still over here to this side, so the neck for the fuel tank comes right here, so I might be able to just kind of plumb it up and right to the back. So that'll be interesting. I mean, it won't be too bad. Next weekend is Christmas. We are going on an adventure. We're gonna go take the kid to go play in the snow because she really wants to get up there and play in the snow. So we're gonna take the Gladiator and go see if we can find snow up in the mountains. We'll probably hit the Natchez because that's the most likely place to find some snow that she can play on a sled and maybe build a snowman or something. But Sunday, if I get time, I'm gonna get out here and try to pull, if I don't get the brake lines done anytime soon, I'm not too worried about it. I really wanna get the radiator out so that I can start mocking up the grill and all that, and the front fenders. So here's the back of the CJ grill. And I'm thinking I'm gonna have to trim it to get the radiator to fit. So I'm thinking if I can take the old, where is it? The old core support over there for the JK and see if I can't cut that to modify it in here to hold the radiator. If not, I'll make something for the radiator to be held in there. But yeah, so this is the aluminum radiator that I got when I did the Hemi swap. This is the transmission cooler. So I'll have to figure out how all that's gonna be. I'm gonna end up having to drop the transmission. I have another one. I wanna have one of them rebuilt. And then I'll put it back in with a fresh transmission. The engine only has right around 60,000 miles on it. The trannies, I'm not sure. The spare tranny I have, I know has less miles than the one that I put in it, but I don't know, we'll see. So here's the core support for the JK. You can see how big it is. This is where your radiator would mount here at the base. So I'm wondering if I can't trim all this to kind of fit into the CJ and make that work so that I can mount that aluminum radiator right into this. If not, like I said, I'll make my own brackets, make it work. But that's kind of where I'm at. Then I got to figure out, so the JK grill came to about here. This is where that core support kind of mounted. And I kind of want the CJ grill to sit pretty close to that spot there, right, almost not flush, but right about here. So I'm gonna have to make something that goes across there, because the CJs, the grill mounts in the middle. So there's a single body mount that goes right here in the middle, and that's where your CJ grill would mount. And then it would mount to the fenders on the side, which is what these holes here are for on your fender. So it would mount there, and that's what would hold everything into place once your fender's bolted to the tub and all that. So my game plan for that is try to keep as much stock look as I can. I mean, I know it's not going to look stock at the back half of the Jeep itself because I have to extend the tub, but as for the rest of it, I want to make it look as stock as possible. So that means I want the fenders to look super stock. I went and bought brand new fenders. I have to buy a new windshield frame because mine's all banged up. I'm gonna have to cut the fenders a little bit to fit this, all the shock towers and the coil spring mounts. But the game plan is to make it look as much stock as I can, because I think that'll look cool. Because I don't know of anybody else who's put an old CJ7 on a Gladiator or on a JK frame, especially a 4-door frame with a 2-door CJ. So if you want to see what's going on for the next steps of this, stay tuned. I will get as many videos out as possible. It's kind of hard right now because all I do is really make videos on the weekend because I have to work during the week. And between family and kid and all that, I got to spend time with them, which is something I love to do, is spend time with my wife and my daughter. So I make one video a week, or try to. But anyway, if you want to see how this project comes along, please subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and hit the notification button so you get a notification whenever I upload a new video. And thanks for watching.